welcome to Xena Warrior Podcast. My name is Vera, and I am joined, as always, by my two duplicated co-hosts, Katie.
Hello.
And Libby.
Hi.
Didn't it sound like I was just going to start rapping? My name is Vera.
No.
I thought so.
I think
You're a
that's you
nerd.
every week, actually.
Yes.
You have a rhythm.
A rhythm of failing at talking. All right, guys. Can you believe this? We are on the last episode of season 3.
I cannot believe it.
Me neither.
We're at the halfway point of our podcast.
More than, because there's more episodes than season 1.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Ta-da.
I like your math. Wow. Wow.
Dang. All right.
We have some Patreon thank yous.
Oh, Lana's time.
Oh, Lana's time. Ready?
Oh my goodness.
Thank you, Brie Figgy. Thank you, Joey Netzorg.
Woo!
Thank you. Thank you. Season 3.
I feel like you're getting better at the song.
Yeah, I'm going to be so good. By season 6, you'll think I'm Alanis.
Okay, one more Patreon-related point of business before we get into the episode, and this is a very exciting one.
Super excited about this.
We have our first Patreon exclusive. It is us diving deep into the world of Lucy Lawless IMDb, called Lucy Lawless IMDb Experience Part 1.
Part 1.
Yes.
Of
May
many
notice,
parts.
Yeah, part 1 implies that we are going to have more parts.
Yeah.
This is only about Lucy's early filmography, everything before Xena. So it's a lot of us talking about all the many New Zealand faces that we see.
And her face being a baby face.
Oh my god, so round,
So adorable.
so pink.
Yeah. What?
When she's upset, she's very pink.
Aw. So if you're a patron, you can totally check that out. And if you're not, maybe you can check out our Patreon page.
Yeah.
If you love Lucy Lawless, that is.
For as little as $3 a month,
That's right.
Oh my god.
it can be yours.
Good pitch. Good pitch.
All right. Let's get into the episode. 322, Sacrifice Part 2.
Skip to the end.
Yeah, we don't care about any of the stuff except for the last 2 seconds.
Oh my goodness. Written by Paul Robert Coyle and directed by Rick Jacobson.
Rick Jacobson, he's directed a few previous episodes.
One previous
Just
episode.
one? Oh, which is it?
Dirty Six.
Oh my god, you're kidding.
It really?
That was his first
yes.
episode?
And we were like, oh, it's gonna get better. It's
Yeah,
gonna get better.
'cause he's a big Red Pix guy. He
Yes.
directs lots of good stuff, mostly in the
Yes.
2000s.
Mm-hmm. And also, his Xenas are really good.
Yes.
Not counting Dirty Six.
Not counting Dirty Six.
But as you recall, Dirty Six had a lot of like a red room with lots of like sparks flying.
This turned into some good slow-mo sweaty Xena with the hair going.
Yeah, let me just say right now, this guy, I'm so into it. He was like ahead of the game. He was
the
all
slow-mo.
about slow-mo.
And of course, his great moment of success here with
Yeah.
the high-speed camera.
Absolutely.
I think that's what netted him all those great jobs ever after this. We're so grateful to him for having captured that. But that's jumping ahead to the last 2 seconds. Whoops.
That's fine. Go.
There's a lot of slow-mo in this episode, so
That's true.
we can talk about
That's
it.
a good point.
all
Yeah,
over
it's
the
not
place.
just the end.
So this episode begins with the Room of the Fates. We have a close-up on some life threads.
It looks more like life yarns. It
Yeah.
literally looks like alpaca yarn from your local craft store.
Ares comes over and picks one up. Now, this scene is really amazing because it's, number one, silent. This is just silence happening all around.
Except for previously on
Well, that's the
Have they not
thing.
done that yet?
I don't think they do.
I don't think they do that at all.
No, as soon as he picks up the thread, it goes into a previously. It's fucking amazing.
So you're saying that Ares, via the threads, is spinning out the previously for us. He's going backwards on the life thread and saying, this is last week's Xena.
I was going to make a really big deal out of it, and then at the end, when we are back in the Fates' house, we do see that they have like a big screen TV, and they do literally watch
They watch
the
Xena.
show.
They are us.
Yeah.
It me again. More it me.
So I was really taken aback by this amazing creative way of doing it previously.
Yeah.
Recently, on the first episode of season 7 of Game of Thrones, they did a fun, creative
Yes.
previously that, you just don't see that because it's so easy to just go previously on. Because, I mean, this one, I think Robert Field
What show
definitely
is it
did.
that has a musical number for its previously? I'm looking at you, Katie. I feel like this is something you would know.
Crazy Ex-Girlfriend?
Maybe it's Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. Yeah, a current show that is semi-musical does these musical previously.
That makes sense
I
there.
like that now in the era of prestige TV, the previouslys are being used as part of the artistic endeavor, but Xena did it first. Like, this is really impressive and feels very hand in hand with Forget Me Not.
Yes.
Which
also very organic.
Yeah,
Oh my
using the edit
gosh.
and, having reasons for showing
Yeah.
you the past. And I think you're right that having Ares with that thread, it's a really nice framing device to be like, okay, part one.
Right, and also it sets up the big deal, which we found out at the end of part one, which is that Atropos, our very eager fate to cut Xena's, lifeline, is ready with those scissors.
Yeah, they're just standing there. They're going to snip.
Yeah, so that's like the big thing that's hanging over this episode.
What
It
if
all-
they tripped? Like, they
Their,
should just stand there
their
with it.
feet are just nailed to the floor. They cannot trip.
It's
They're
just
the
her,
fates.
though.
I do also like that these previouslys very, very smoothly transition into
Absolutely,
the
to the point where you don't, I missed it. I was like, oh, it's still the previous. No, this is the new stuff.
Yeah.
And what new material it is. We have a close-up of
more eyebrows.
what, the feet are first.
Oh, that's true. Oh my god, I love that feet shot, but all the squelchy extra.
Extra
Again,
squelch.
with the tactile. Ooh.
And there's
Shit.
just like milk just flowing
Oh my
everywhere.
God. So I want to go back to Katie. I mean, you mentioned in the last episode how it seems like Alien was very big on their inspiration. I mean, this was like straight up like, remember how like the robots on Alien are made out of milk?
Right.
So like
oh
they're
gosh.
they're
Good
just like
point.
she's
So
just covered
it's
in
the androids mixed with the aliens, the
Yeah.
xenomorphs themselves.
Yeah.
The
Xenomorph. Oh.
Everything's always grosser and scarier when it's practical makeup making
Yeah.
squelchy noises.
Yeah, because you
Oh.
can imagine being that actor, being Renee, and being like, ooh, she didn't have fun with this. Except it really looks like she did.
I think she has fun with hope.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
Maybe not being covered in gloop.
Goop. Yeah.
There was one other cinematic reference point that I meant to bring up last week, but I'll bring it up now. I thought maybe David Cronenberg for
I was gonna
the
say.
body horror.
Yeah.
Yeah, with this weird egg thing, and it's sort of almost human, but not quite human. That's
Yeah.
very him.
It was gross, yeah.
Yeah.
So in a wide shot, we see everybody sort of like come closer to this throne that, she's standing on. And you see like the Dayhakians start bowing.
Meanwhile, Hope says, "Hello, mother."
And Gabrielle says, hello, Newman.
And I say, "Hello from the other side." I don't know the words to that song.
Whoa.
Anyway, Gabrielle's like, Hope? And
What?
it's
Okay,
just like,
wait.
she looks just like you. Of course
Pause.
it is.
Pause. What's that voice? We have to talk about the voice.
Yeah.
It's Yoda mixed with Gollum.
Forgot that
Yes.
this happened.
Yeah, me too. I
Having
remembered the
Watched the
eyebrows.
whole show.
And then going back to it, I was like, the voice? There's a voice too?
Yeah.
I think, the eyebrows are enough,
Yeah.
Yeah.
clearly.
I like the voice
but-
because it's like she hasn't used it. You
Yeah,
know? Like that's
I
what I
think-
thought it was first.
yeah,
She
yeah,
needs to
yeah.
clear her throat.
That's true. A lot of the time it does just feel like a frog in the throat.
But no, she did not have to clear her throat. It would continue to be weird later on.
Also, her voice sounds like a baby doll. That kind of like
She has
Marilyn
baby doll voice.
Monroe kind of sex pot thing. I don't know. There's a lot happening there.
I like it.
Certainly later when she talks to Ares, it's more of like a happy birthday, Mr. President
All
kind of a
right,
thing.
all right. I think it makes sense.
You do want to distinguish this character from Gabrielle every way you can. But I have to say, I may be with Katie, that the eyebrows are so good.
So good.
They do so much work.
All
that,
the work.
Everything else just feels like, I just don't need it. She
Yeah.
could have just spoken those creepy lines, in a voice ever so slightly different from Gabrielle's, and I wouldn't.
It is ever so slightly.
No, it's more than ever so slightly. It's different. It's a different voice.
I'm okay with it. She's like covered in milk. It's fine.
Maybe I would have liked it to go away throughout the
She
episode.
cleared her throat. And it was like, oh, excuse me.
I think it does at points, but it's
does,
it's
but
it's
like-
always higher.
It's almost like she can go in and out of it.
Yes,
which is
like her
100%.
accents work.
That's
Yeah.
true. I guess this is something consistent about Gabrielle / Renee.
Yeah.
Funny voices have a habit of disappearing in the
Right,
middle
right,
of the
right, right.
performance.
But she never loses it with the face, and that's
No,
what
and I mean,
we-
this
what
is
matters.
just such a distinct character, even though we're ragging on her a little
Yeah.
bit. Like, this is a tremendous, tremendous job. And you see it right away. I just love the silent reaction shot of Gabrielle cutting to silent reaction shot of Hope, and you're just like, these are two
You're
different
talking
people.
about during the fight scene, which
Yes.
is in fucking incredible.
Yes.
All right, so Hope throws a shitload of telekinesis at Xena.
goes for
like
it.
Yeah.
all the weapons, well, half the weapons in the Hall of War, she like lets loose, and it's a tennis match, and Seraphim and Priest are like back and forth, back and forth, and then Xena is like deflecting them. Well, first she tries her sword, and then that goes flying. So she starts deflecting them with her
Yes.
chakram.
Does a better job than Piper Laurie at the end of Carrie.
Oh, good. That is definitely another reference point here. Something about that blank set stare.
Well, the close
while
up of a
covered in a
face
fluid.
while you're doing telekinesis.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some fire, even.
Yeah.
Gabrielle tries to help out and also explain the situation about how Xena cannot kill Hope because of the fates. She's always like, "Oh, Xena, you have to know something."
Yeah, she
you
cannot
know,
get it
and
out
She just
until
cannot.
a little bit.
Xena would always like throw her back.
To be fair, Xena's really busy right now. She's being attacked by like 100 swords, and then
Yeah.
another 100 swords, and then another
and then
100
Callisto.
swords. And then Callisto, motherfucker. Oh my god, I love this Callisto fight.
This may be my favorite. Is that weird?
No.
The cutting on
It doesn't have any ladders in it. So
It
of
doesn't
course
have any
it's your
ladders.
favorite.
It's straight up a fight, and I really love how it ends with this like triple cut of her like palm punching Xena with like the extended
Yes.
arm. It's really good.
I also think after the previous two fights in Sacrifice Part 1, which were both a little, I think, purposefully disappointing. I mean, one of them ends with Callisto being like, this is disappointing, and leaving. This one is suddenly no holds barred. Like,
Yes.
It's a real fight.
It's a real fight. There's crazy like brass instruments on the score that are going nuts. You just have a lot of cutting to what else is happening in this room. So like while Xena and Callisto are going at it, you cut back to Gabrielle, who, you know, makes herself turn away from that fight to look at Hope, and what does she see? Hope staring at her like a creeper.
Yeah, just not
Total
blinking.
Eyebrows just like up to the sky, staring. It's amazing.
It tells you
honestly
so.
amazing.
I mean, I love the moments in this episode where it's not trying to explain things through dialogue. I think just these silent performances right here are so good. They tell you everything about how shocking and upsetting this is for Gabrielle, and then just for you, the audience, comparing those two faces and saying
Yeah.
like, "Whoa, this looks like the same person," but at the same time, they couldn't be more different. That's telling you the whole story of this episode.
So you're saying there was a push in on Hope, right, at that moment?
Maybe. I
Well,
don't know
it
if
was
the
really-
camera physically,
It was real. It
Comes
was
in.
just really cool because she does not blink in this
No,
whole scene, and it's
even though she's got milk running in down.
no, her face is very clear.
That's true. It actually looks like in between part 1 and part 2, somebody came up with a towel and quickly
Yeah,
gave her a wipe down.
So Callisto beats down Xena, and I thought that was like really neat.
Yes. Xena tells Callisto, Hope is just using you.
Right, because so she's physically, kind of weakened right now. Xena.
So
that
now
is.
it's time
She's-
for some comeback.
Yeah, she's like on the floor, so she's like playing all her cards. She's like, "Oh, you better watch out, because she's just using you."
Yeah, this is interesting because later in the episode, Xena is so not on board when Callisto switches sides, but here when she's desperate, she's willing to play that, like, switch sides, Callisto, please.
Well, she doesn't. I mean, is that where you think she's?
Well, she's
asking?
warning her that the person who
Right.
she's an ally with is not a good ally.
She's incepting her
Yeah,
with doubt
for
about
sure.
her current ally.
But what does Callisto say in response? First, Xena says, I wouldn't turn my back on her. Callisto's burn is like, you turned your back on your little precious Gabrielle.
Yeah.
Goes right back to the rift.
Right back to the beginning.
Guess you speak from experience, huh?
Experience that.
Oh gosh. So
That's my Xena impression.
That was very interesting.
While
Xena when she's just woken up and she's angry.
So Callisto, like, as this conversation is happening, is building a fireball in her hands, and she's gonna throw that fireball at Xena and destroy Xena right then and there. But Xena kicks her in the ankle. And for some reason, instead of just dropping the fireball, she sends it right up to the roof, and roof rocks fall on her.
Oh my god. More rocks. More rocks. Oh, I'm sorry. It's the Earth Goddess trapping Callisto the only way the Earth can.
This is a ceiling, it's man-made.
That's true. Take that, Steve Sears. This ceiling is man-made. This is the first of the 3 things flies up at the ceiling, knocks something down to the floors in this episode. Another thing you can take a shot for. You are going to be so drunk by the end of this episode. As a reminder, we're also taking shots for whenever anybody disapparates out of a scene.
Yeah.
So we're going to be on the floor at minute like 11.
So Callisto's down under these rocks. Xena goes back to what she was doing, and Hope throws more weapons at her. Xena actually throws her chakram, like, right at Hope.
Yeah, and gets her a little bit.
Grazes her arm. There's
So she's
blood.
She's mortal, or at least
Right.
vulnerable.
But what we see as soon as she gets hit is that Seraphine is also affected.
Yes.
So that's a bit of a problem.
That's a bit of a problem for sure. Though, how much of a problem?
I mean, as much as
Sorry.
we listen, as much as
I
we don't
mean-
like Seraphine, she is an innocent technically.
Yeah.
Very technically.
they
I mean, it
came
depends
here-
about this whole free will business. Did she choose this, or is she being mind controlled?
This mind control business, was that from the last episode at all?
It was mentioned in a vague way, and we
Like,
had
did
the
we see
zombies.
it?
I mean,
Well,
we had the
besides the
Jayhawk zombies.
Okay, but Seraphine was never affected last week.
I mean, we've heard Xena say things like Hope's hold over Seraphine.
Well, I
is
thought that
strong.
was like
But
a,
exactly.
religious
I never understood
belief.
if it was like consensual or
Yeah.
not. So
So in this episode, they introduced that it's literally like she gets mind controlled.
yeah.
Not yet, though. Right now, she's
Right.
like,
Well, in the moment where Hope is hit by the chakram, she kind of seems to snap out of something and say, like, I feel weird, what's happening? But I
alright.
didn't,
I
Xena
didn't get
will
it.
later come back to that and say, like, oh, did you notice that she
Yeah.
changed in that moment? I just thought she was like, I feel weird, what's happening? Because, like, she's,
Yeah,
affected.
well, I thought that the point was
like,
that
it hurts her when
right.
Hope
So
is hurt.
they were setting up that if Xena kills Hope, not only does she herself die, but she causes Seraphine to die. So that's an innocent. That's Gabrielle's friend.
And then
So
Xena
that's-
herself dies because the Fates have that scissors. Oh my god, so much.
Right.
So much hinging on this one life.
That makes sense to me because Seraphine got them into this entire episode.
God damn it, Seraphine.
But I don't know. This mind control business, that's completely different. Anyway, Xena throws this chakram and Hope throws it back.
Yes, they play catch.
That was pretty dang awesome.
It hits Xena in the stomach and just sends her flying.
Yeah, well, she grabs with both hands.
Yeah, that's true. She
So
stops it from
deflects
hitting her.
it from
Yeah.
like
She hits herself in the
completely
stomach.
disemboweling herself.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that she gets punches herself basically with the force. But yeah, that was pretty neat.
We've never, I mean, obviously we've seen Callisto catch the chakram, but we've never seen the chakram used against Xena.
Okay, quibble. I wish there was like a slight, tear in her costume.
Oh.
Just to be like, it did something.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I know she kind of like walks around like as if she was hit in the
I mean,
stomach,
it
which she
looked like
was.
a hard landing,
It-
hard
she
hit.
flew, yeah. But still.
But you're right. They could have
Tiny
gone
little
even
slit.
further. And
Yeah.
that just would have been nice symmetry, right? She hurts Hope, Hope hurts
Right,
her.
exactly.
Yeah.
This is our first introduction to Gabrielle and Hope composited together in one frame. So Gabrielle kind of like walks in front of her, and there's what we call a rack focus. That's really nice.
Oh, I didn't notice this.
Yeah.
Tell me about this, what we call a rack
It just
focus.
looked good, This is effects from back in the day, some of it looks
Yeah.
totally fine.
It does, yeah. This episode has some great production design in places where you're just like, this looks like a show, a real show.
Gabrielle tries to reason with her. She's like, Hope, stop it.
Oh.
And then Seraphine runs up, and I loved this line where she's like, no, Gabrielle, come on. You're a mother.
You see what I mean about how this episode's best when people are not talking?
Yeah.
So Hope queues up another batch of weapons to
Right.
telekinetically hurl at
She
Xena.
throws Gabrielle.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
as
she
well.
throws Gab, right? Because
That's-
Gabs goes
that's a big
for
one.
her.
Yeah.
Gabs does actually kind of
Yeah.
charge.
Yeah. And then the weapons are ready and primed.
What can Xena
Oh
do?
my gosh. So she like
Back to the ceiling again.
Yeah.
Ceiling number 2.
remainder, hanging thing from the ceiling. What is it? Like the top
It's
of
a
the dome?
ceiling, yeah.
No, it's like a
the
circle.
actual, yeah, it's like the
Oh.
dome.
Okay. Well, that drops because she chakrams it, and they use that as like a shield to
Which is pretty cool.
Very clever.
roll
Yeah.
around and
I love
deflect all the
it's a
weapons.
giant shield. It rolls across, they run with it. It's a good little shot. I thought this of the ceiling drops, this one's my favorite. Which is your favorite ceiling drop?
I like the first one because Callisto really was not expecting that.
Poor Callisto.
Well, she just busts out of it right now
Yeah.
from those rocks. It took her
So
that long.
I know it. I mean, but compared to the first time she got
Yeah.
trapped under rocks, this is fast.
Yeah.
She's getting faster and faster.
So she's going to fireball Xena and Gabrielle, and Hope stops her.
But Hope's just like, no, guys, I need to exit this scene. We have to take this up in a new location.
Or she says,
Jack has more important things in mind.
and then Callisto apparates the both of them away in this amazing, peace out, bitches way.
I mean, it's pretty
so
good.
badass.
This
She
is
does-
wait we drink whenever
Yeah,
people do this because it
gosh.
is kind of fun.
This one's amazing. She just has so much toot, and she does like a rock and roll guitar strum with her hand, basically. It's so good. How's Xena's mood right now?
She is pissed.
She's
I
so
mean-
angry.
I would be.
Yeah, Gabs wasn't able to get out the explanation. So
Of course.
from Xena's perspective,
20 times she tries.
yeah.
I like that she does get it out immediately
Yeah.
here. Otherwise, I was going to yell.
Xena says, "You protected your daughter well, didn't you?" And Gabrielle's like, "You don't understand." And then explains.
I love how Xena's like, how could you release that monster? That I do not understand. It's so sad. It's so weirdly
There's a lot
sassy.
of sassy. Yeah. But Gabrielle grabs her arms. She grabs Xena by the arms. By them arms.
So she finally does get to tell Xena about the fates and what would happen if Xena kills Hope. And the crux of the situation that she gets out is that she can't stand the thought of losing Xena.
And Xena does have a reaction to this, even though she immediately comes back with, well, I'm willing to die.
Right.
It's not a big deal. Jeez, Gabs.
I think she understands.
I think there is a moment where I think the real anger, the fury, is gone.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, well, I get this. I'm annoyed, but I get it. That's as close to I love you too as they can get in this moment.
Xena's being Xena and tells her that if she has to die doing it, then so be it.
That's Gabrielle's line from the Sacrifice one.
That's true.
When she thought it was her lifeline that needed to be cut.
Both
So
Xena
they
and
mirror it.
Gabrielle, have the same exact reaction. No biggie.
Yeah.
I'm willing to do this. I know that stopping Hope is more important than my life.
Sacrifice! Part 1.
Right.
Hands are on faces.
Yes.
Xena's hands, hair, face, happening good.
This is such a great moment because she just caresses Gabrielle's cheek and then the
Sort
hand.
of, but it's in her hair. Yeah.
Right, but then the hand lingers and goes
Mm-hmm.
all the way down to the bottom of the hair. And her line was basically you saw her face, didn't you?
Yeah. It's pretty funny, I think, as a line, why would she not have?
She missed that part.
She'd be like, no, what? I didn't.
I don't actually know what I look like.
There's no
Yeah.
mirrors here.
Oh my god.
No, but I mean, Xena has this big line. I just said that they got as close as they could to saying I love you too a
Yeah.
minute ago. They do not. Xena goes all the way here with her line. the one I love most in all the world and the one I hate look exactly the same.
Oof.
Dun dun dun.
That's rough.
That's rough.
It's really bad.
And in a show about people having these contradictory sides, good and evil, right and wrong, like it's great that Xena has this strange conflict here where she can look at this one face and see both these people.
After Xena says that the one she loves most in the world and the one she hates the most look exactly the same, we cut to Hope.
The one she hates the most.
Yeah, being like, I want to look like the one she loves the most.
Yeah, makeover time.
Right, and Callisto doesn't really understand why she would want to look like Gabrielle. Hope just like Yoda croaks, do it.
There is no try.
And apparently Callisto's powers include makeovers.
Absolutely.
She like fireball makeovers her.
Yeah. Doesn't make a lot of sense, but that's exactly what happens. She looks exactly like Gabrielle, except for the eyebrows.
Yeah.
They remained.
So I thought it was really funny because it's like the wind was blowing the bangs around so that you could
really
see
can
those
see
eyebrows.
Yeah. So meanwhile, Callisto reminds Hope of their deal. She expects Hope to just straight up kill her now. She gave her
Yeah.
a makeover. What
Yeah.
more could she need?
Right,
But Hope's
right.
like, no, I'm not finished with you. So it's clear she's gonna string Callisto along for as long as Callisto remains useful to her. And I think right here, Callisto immediately knows that it's never gonna happen.
I guess, but she ends the scene with this like face.
Pretty happy.
Yeah.
Happy, but ready to look for options elsewhere.
I don't know. I
mean,
think there's
she-
one specific thing that sends her away,
I
and
mean,
we have
there
not
is.
hit that yet. But I did like how she was very much like a kid who like needed, instant gratification. She was just like,
I did
"Do
it."
Yeah, give it to me now, like kind of thing throughout this whole episode. So, all right. So Ares enters the Temple of Jayhawk and reminds the audience that he likes the D now. He has flip sides.
He says, I don't regret joining you. I mean, serving you.
Oh, Dark One.
I don't think Ares is a good ally. He does not know how this is done. This is another temple, which you mentioned, Temple of Jayhawk. It's built on a, raging volcano.
How do you
Where
know
else
this?
would you do it?
Yeah, of course, for the drums.
No, for real. Questions. How was this in the episode? Like, how do you know that it was built on a
Because
volcano?
in the establishing shot
There's a
of
volcano.
the
Oh, there's a
exterior,
volcano?
there's
Yeah.
a volcano going.
Oh my god, guys!
And
I
it
These
looks
missed
episodes
that.
are so extra.
It looks
They're
angry.
really full of
It's an angry
stuff.
volcano.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we've already had Hall of War
Yeah.
full of swords. Now we're going one step further to Hall
They're
of
slightly
Volcano.
indistinguishable. I mean, I know they are because Jayhawk Temple has lava and a skull that's
Yeah,
massive.
it has a big skull.
But they're all very fiery and sparky.
Well, they all have the same badly built ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
So
I like the shot where Ares is talking to, Jayhawk, who is a fire flame
Yeah.
situation on an altar. And as he's exposing, the camera slowly kind of pans around him. It was just a nice shot, like a one take kind of thing. I like Rick Jacobson.
I mean, yeah, he's doing a lot with, again, this is probably the same set that we just had, just slightly redressed, but he makes it feel dynamic and exciting. And it's cool to see Ares being kind of servile, It feels wrong
Yeah.
in a good way.
So we have a village and the Jayhawkian goons.
The Jayhawkian.
priests,
I think they want to be called disciples.
disciples.
They are the disciples,
Yeah,
or are the
little
people-
D's to go with big D.
Are they? So the KKK?
Yeah,
goons?
Zeno said that in the previous episode that they call themselves his disciples
right.
now.
All right, I'm gonna call them goons.
Okay.
They are rounding up people, much like how we've seen any warlord do from season 1 through 3.
Good point.
And these
Guys-
people
yeah.
are gonna be
Blood
sacrificed.
sacrifices.
Yes, sacrificed.
More sacrifices for the glory of Big D.
Seraphine explains that one of Hope's duties is to prepare the way, but she also maybe has other duties we don't know.
Maybe. Sexy duties.
Maybe. And she also is like, this is good. These people were chosen. Like, what's the big deal, Xena?
Ares then shows up to give Gabrielle a talking to, reminding her of her promise. And also kind of warning her, Xena she's not somebody who's going to give up. Like, Gabrielle can't just sit back and wait and see what happens. Like, if Xena is out to kill Hope, she will eventually kill Hope.
Right.
Yeah.
I liked them talking about her and like kind of watching her fight.
We like to watch her fight,
Yeah.
too.
They both
Well,
clearly
yeah.
do.
This is like some of the
Yeah.
slow-mo fighting that's in
Yes,
one
this
of,
is
one of the
some
first
really
instances.
wonderful. Yes,
Yeah.
that's right. I had forgotten about this slow-mo fighting. But
It's
then
good.
when we were watching it, I was like, this is totally from Vids. I recognize
yeah.
this.
Katie's Viz.
This is in the Vids.
It's really great. And as...
One of her hair, excuse me, I'm sorry,
Oh,
I
that's
interrupted you. I just wanted to say, like, especially when they use slow motion, her hair whips around really beautifully. That's why it's in all the vids. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
no,
yes,
it's
yes.
really, that is why slow-mo fighting is so good, because it's really choreographed hair battles. That's what's so good about it.
The fight choreography, though, has to be matching.
Right.
Because
Well,
remember,
here it kinda
Vanishing
works,
Act.
because it's that spin around, and the
Yeah.
spin around is always good in slow-mo.
Oh yeah. You mentioned Ares talking to Gabrielle, and as this is happening, she's holding Seraphine's hand, and like it's as if Seraphine is a cranky child. Like she's like constantly trying to grab the hand away, and you don't see Seraphine in the shot. You just see Gabrielle's hand going like up and down, like as she tries to escape. It was a good touch.
It is a good touch. It shows how difficult this. It actually shows why Gabrielle isn't really contributing in the fight. She's too busy with the child throwing a tantrum.
Previously, she mentioned to Xena, like as she explained why she couldn't let Xena kill Hope, she's like, Ares called in his debt. Does Xena know about that part of Forget Me Not? Like, it's weird. I feel like
She must. Yeah, I mean, we don't see that in Forget Me Not. We know only that, that Xena knows about the original
They
deal.
talked about it later.
But I mean, Xena's a smart cookie, so if she is told that Ares offered to help me do this thing and I took him up on it, she must know that means Ares is going to ask for something in return.
Yeah.
So the sexy slow-mo fight ends with a hilarious, maybe not quite sexy squawk from Xena.
It really does.
It 100% does. It's crazy.
That's my favorite Xena
I know
fight
you.
noise.
I know it is.
But in slow-mo, I don't know. Hope and Callisto are in Ares' temple.
Oh no.
Temple of a lesser god.
Doing some desecration.
Right, she blows off his head with her fireball. And Callisto finds out that Ares is actually now on their side.
She's not happy about this.
No, she's really not.
Yeah, you get the sense that this is turning the tide for her. This was not part of the plan, and things go from awkward to really awkward.
Really awkward. As Hope and Ares start flirting about Heinz blood daggers. She's like, ooh, baby, I know where Hercules put it.
Oh, I don't like it.
Jeez.
Yeah, Callisto doesn't like it either.
Callisto starts pulling her own
Yeah.
hair in frustration, which I thought was so real. I was like, oh, girl, I get you. Yeah. Ooh.
I thought she was going to be into it and, like, want to watch.
Well, I think there's a part of her, like that perverse part of her, that is laughing at it. Because, I mean, this girl looks like Gabrielle. It is gross and weird. And I think Callisto was all for things that would make Xena feel gross and weird. But I think it makes her personally feel gross and weird. So she can't quite get behind it.
And as they're making out, Ares is like, you are so not like your mother.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Because they made out, too.
I just need to hit the eject button and leave this scene.
Just like Callisto.
Yeah, that's true.
Drink.
What does he mean?
I guess because
He's never made out with her mother.
No, but they had their flirtiness.
They
in
did.
those episodes.
Which, I mean, I feel like those episodes and their flirtiness sets up this.
No.
No, it does not.
Ish.
No, Olivia, it does not.
No.
Oh no.
I mean, here you get that visual.
I mean, I get that
you
that
had
happened
the sexual
before.
tension, and
Well,
here is a payoff. In
setting
a
up and
warm
payoff
way.
are words that are like not happening. It's like, but like having had that happen surely influences, but it's not like a
Right.
setup with a
Yeah,
payoff.
no, but I'm sure the writers said like, "Oh, these actors have chemistry." Let's
I
find
mean,
a way
yeah,
for
and I
them
know
to
they
bone.
do have chemistry.
They do.
Yeah.
I don't know if they have chemistry as Hope and Ares.
But it's weird.
No, I
That's
mean,
why.
Hope is weird. Hope is not really like a person. It's very, very disturbing. I'm with Callisto. Like, this makes me feel not right.
Yeah.
And, you know, why is Ares going along with this? Just to save his skin?
I mean, it's what Xena explains later, where, you know, he thinks that his place is more secure if he is made it to the family line of...
Yeah. No, I mean,
Jayhawk.
I think it's a reasonable assumption to make. Yeah, I think for Ares, like, he has no real loyalty to the Olympian gods, and you're beginning to really see that. And I think also on Hercules, there's plots about that. But, like, he is not, like, he's loyal to Xena in his way. Certainly, his love for her is unshakable. But everything else,
weird.
he's willing to compromise. Literally everything else.
Well, put a pin in what you just said about his love for Xena.
Seraphim jumps off a cliff.
Yeah, so this was an interesting moment. Xena, Gabrielle, and Seraphim spot more goons taking more people hostage. Xena's like, we can't really do anything right now. We gotta go find the source of this problem. And Seraphim's like, nuh-uh, you're not gonna use me again. And just jumps. Like, that was pretty badass.
Yeah, it was pretty hardcore.
And that's like her, like, she's not under control. Like, so I don't really know if that has taken hold yet.
Yeah, it's hard
or
to
what.
say. But it was great to see. Again, like you said, she was just throwing a tantrum like a little child in the village
Yeah.
back there. Here she's taking, like, this action. And it is
Yeah.
impressive.
Never crossed my mind that it was actual mind control.
It's
Until
weird.
you
It
said
is- but it
just
does- it
now,
is
'cause I
later.
wouldn't- Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
for sure later in this
I think there are
episode.
mixed signals in this episode. I think it's very easy to watch it and not think about that at all. But then there are these lines of dialogue that seem to be trying to tell you that, so you understand that Seraphim is still in there. You know, it's not like
Yeah.
they need to deprogram her. All they need to do is break this connection, this psychic link.
No, I always thought it was just brainwashing.
Yeah.
But right now, isn't this brainwashing that she
I mean,
jumps off the cliff on her own
seems
accord?
Yeah,
It's agency.
It's definitely like she's not a Dayhawk zombie.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm this girl. I don't want this. Bye.
I think later you can tell that that's Seraphim under mind control when she has like the crazy eyes.
It's
she's
true.
gonna stab,
That seems very
like, later,
like
yeah.
not recognizably human. Yeah.
So, anyways, Xena jumps to save her because they
You
cannot-
jump, I jump,
Yeah,
right?
right, exactly.
No, so different. So different.
But they
very
both jump.
different.
They both
Yeah.
jump. That's what she means. You know, she catches Seraphim and then hangs on a vine. And he's like, Gabrielle, help us out. Because Gabrielle's back on the cliff. And she's not answering. Because it's Callisto standing there.
It's such a good moment. This like tilting up Callisto's body, and you're just like, oh no. And she's just grinning. She's just silently grinning.
She's like, well, how are you going to get out of this one, Xena? And she literally throws Seraphim up back onto that cliff.
I wish she'd thrown Seraphim at Callisto. It almost looks like that's what's going
It's
on.
true. She throws her like a rag doll. Oh my gosh. And then she like flips on over herself.
You think there's going to be another fight here, but no. Callisto just wants to chat.
She reveals that she was really grossed out by Hope and Ares.
Ugh.
And she's with Team Xena now. She's like, your daughter's in heat. That was really
Ew,
gross.
No,
Really gross.
we don't need this information from you, Callisto. Can it? So this is fun. This is the first time that Callisto straight up says, Xena, please kill me. And Xena's so contrary about it. Xena's like, no. Even though, you know, they were fighting to the death not so long ago.
I would respond to that, but I'm still laughing at my note that made a name smush for Hope and Ares. Harry's. Sorry. Okay. Serious conversation. Now. Continue. I think this is a really good callback to their conversation in Maternal Instincts about how Xena chooses to live with her own pain versus Callisto wanting to get rid of it and die.
Yeah.
By the way, even in Maternal Instincts, she was going around talking about oblivion. It is
Yes.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a great evolution of her desires. It's always been there in many ways. Xena sort of sarcastically retorts, because existence is such a burden, you know, kind of making fun of her for thinking this way. And now the Callisto just has this big shit-eating grin and just is like nodding, like, yes, you get it, you get me.
Yeah.
And then she has her great line, I scratch your back, you stab mine, which is so perfect, so perfectly her.
But Xena doesn't bite. She refuses to help Callisto find peace.
Because Callisto was involved in the death of Solon.
Yeah.
She just can't. She can't give Callisto what she wants. She can't make Callisto happy.
And she says, "May you live forever."
Ooh.
That's intense.
And again, like you said, Vera, that's harkening back to that scene in the cave where Callisto understood that Xena would die, but Callisto would live and live.
Yep. Seraphine runs off at that point, and Xena's like, "Oh, go."
Yeah.
Like, let her go.
I love when Xena is just past caring about things. It's always fun.
Now we're back with Hope, who comes out of the temple that Callisto...
A different temple.
Yeah, it's a different temple.
There's so many temples. This, I think, is the Temple of Ares? I'm
Is
not
it?
sure. I don't know. It's from Armageddon now.
Right, it's the one that
Yeah.
Callisto came out of,
Yeah.
like, near with Porcules.
With poor little Porcules. Hope
Yeah.
he's okay.
And she, like, touches, the side of the temple, and we see a flash of Hercules, like, jamming that dagger in there. And then she busts that rock. The dagger is not there.
It's been moved.
She's disappointed!
Disappointed.
Just when you think there's not enough going on
Oh, boy.
in these episodes.
Enter Jaxer. Is it really necessary?
I mean, it's a little off-putting because he wasn't in part one, but
Good point.
This,
Fair point.
This totally makes an argument for why he's there. And I love that it's such a small part of the episode. This is ideal Jaxer. He's important, but minimal.
I unfortunately think he's only there to react to Gabrielle at the end of this episode.
I disagree.
Whatever.
We'll talk about it.
I think they did not have to do it.
Well, he's here now.
He's here and I have to put up with it. So
He's speaking
let's
in
do it.
his hero voice to start with, which I
Sure.
thought was a nice touch. That he's saving these hostages, going like, "All right, don't worry." But then when he is told by the priests that they serve Dayhawk, it's just like switch is flicked, and he's like, I'm Jaxer. Oh shit,
I guess he could be in this.
How's my Jaxer impression?
You need to work on some of these, I think.
I think he sounded a little like Hope. I guess thinking about it, and his intro here with like a bunch of people makes me think that what if he was here because it's Callisto's last episode supposedly, and he was in her first episode.
Yeah,
that's cool.
That's nice, bookending it.
I don't think he should have been in that first one either. But
I
whatever.
mean, I know you feel that way. Look, we'll get into it, but he serves a very important role here.
I agree.
He's not just there for a reaction shot.
Yes, but it's just so busy in both of these episodes.
Well, he's unconscious now because
Yeah.
Seraphim knocked him out.
Just runs into the scene and knocks him
so
out.
I think Seraphine now is under mind control. Like this
Okay.
is her under when she's like doing actual violence and stuff.
Okay.
That's I think is not normal.
I'll
you
go with
sure?
this.
I think so.
But yeah, it's so not telegraphed. It's very hard to tell what's what
Yeah.
with Seraphine.
I just really never had any of these thoughts throughout the whole thing. Even later when
even
you're
later
saying
when
that
it's
it is.
but also
Yeah.
when it's a
I
reveal.
think the app just kind of. I'd almost prefer it if there was no mind control because I like the idea
Absolutely.
of the ambiguity. You know,
Yes.
this character has this history with Gabrielle, but she's made some bad choices. She's serving Satan. You know,
she's-
Right,
And-
I
and
thought that
she's
was
very
like
Yeah.
enough
still
for her to
into
make
it.
all these
yeah.
crazy
I think the
decisions.
episode wants you to kind of give her a pass because of the mind control.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Alas, we can ignore it because it's probably better writing with that part ignored.
So this is a really great wide shot of Xena, Gabrielle, and Callisto walking.
Yeah, I said they look good.
It's amazing. And this whole time, it's like a big ol' oneer, and Callisto's trying to convince Xena to let her join their team.
Yeah, which is
Still.
funny because this wide shot makes it clear that she has joined the team. She's kind of there in the hero shot.
She's like
walking
running
with
around,
them. Yeah.
like trying to get to Xena, walk at her pace.
She's in that group whether they want her there or not. Xena's like, I like the idea of you living with your suffering. And
Yeah.
Callisto's like, who said anything about suffering? It's more of a boredom, really.
Yeah. No, she's really great. She's like, it looks like she's spinning these, lines to
Yeah.
Xena. She's coming up.
She
with
just
stuff.
has responses lightning quick.
Yeah, it's like improv.
And of course, this is a big deal that Xena, on some level, is saying, I know you suffer, like with guilt, with remorse.
Right.
These things that Xena in the past has denied, Callisto feels. Now it's becoming clear that Xena, on some level, knows she feels them. So it's actually a very significant line.
Yeah, and Callisto really keeps talking about this Heinz blood dagger and guesses that Xena wants to use the dagger on Ares, which I think is interesting.
That's true. Maybe because Callisto would like to use it on Ares. She jumped to that quickly enough.
Well, she also uses it on herself, but I
Right.
think it's really interesting that this episode has both Xena plotting against Ares and being serious about it. Like, I believe Xena would kill Ares with it, and Ares very seriously letting her life thread to be cut. So, what about that OTP?
Yeah, well, that OTP is under a lot of strain right now, for sure. I like that Gabrielle once again trots out this argument about Xena taking things too personally.
Well, I think that's great because that's exactly what Ares said in the first part of
Yeah.
this two-parter. And she makes Xena see that, yeah, this is happening. She's losing focus because she's so angry.
Yeah, and that strategically having Callisto on their side is clearly the right move.
Yeah.
Xena can't afford to be turning down allies.
I know the show uses a lot of, like, weird edits sometimes, like wipes for their transitions, but I really noticed it in this episode. I don't know, it was fun. Like, the next shot is Jaxer rising into frame and, like, the wipe goes up.
Oh, that's a nice touch. That reminds me of Star Wars whenever you have these playful wipes.
Hope comes and sort of, like, circles him like prey, quizzing him about
Their relation.
Yeah, their relation.
This scene is painful.
Because it's raining.
it is quite visibly raining, but it's awkward. It's very. I keep saying that various things in this episode are awkward, and they are. I mean, I think that's what the mark of a good season finale is that it's bringing together all these things, not just the rift, but Jaxer and Gabrielle and their unrequited thing. I
Right.
love that even that gets kind of threaded in here.
Hope asks if it was love.
And Jaxer says, I think I have a nosebleed.
But then she's like, you know, talking more to herself / the audience. She's like, strange, there wasn't enough love in her to let me live, yet people love her.
Great. I like this stuff because I always want Hope to be more of a person.
Yeah, this is
She
the
is, yeah.
one thing that humanizes her. She's hung up on this idea, like, who is my mother? Why doesn't she love me?
Right.
And why does she love Xena?
What would you make of my feelings towards Xena?
Oh my god, what would she? Yes, please.
Well, Jaxer says, you love her more than anybody in the whole world. She's like, more than anybody. And then finally she's like, Jaxer, do you know anything about the Heinz blood dagger? And he's like, nope. So she's like, bye.
Is he lying or has...
No, she doesn't know the plan yet.
Yeah,
We
I'm
know
not
exactly when he gets the plan.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
you'll have to tell me.
Oh, well, don't worry about it. Another village, another D-goon fight.
See, so this is what I mean about replication. You know, there are 2 temples in this episode, 3 if you count Temple of Ares. And now here's, a second village with villagers being carted off to be sacrifices to Dayhawk. Slow motion cams, Xena fighting them.
I mean, I don't mind the slow-mo cam.
I feel like it's fine.
But, yeah.
But why is this happening a second time in like 5 minutes?
Well, because this time...
Callisto's there.
Callisto's in on the action.
Which is a good addition.
Yeah. Not only that, and then, you know, Hope comes in the guise of Gabrielle. So we have a lot going on in this particular
Yeah, this
fight.
one actually is a much better one than the first village fight.
Yeah.
I see your village fight. I raise it.
Callisto starts just tentatively throwing, like, tiny little fireballs, you know, here and there at the little goons, you know, like, smoking their butts, you know, kind of thing.
Oh yeah, she's the guy right in the butt.
Yeah. And then, you know, she just gets more confident with it and starts going bigger and bigger until she's just, like, blowing the place up. Gabrielle has conveniently run off to aid a mom and her scared blonde children. So that's why it's totally fine that, you know, she comes back and Xena's like, oh, Gabrielle, I have the instructions to where to find that Heinz blood dagger. And immediately I was like, oh, she knows already that this is...
Yeah, it's literally the first thing out of her mouth.
Yeah, like, clearly this is, like, a fake. We already seen her fake out Callisto, like, 5 times, you know? But no, I think she really thought it was Gabrielle.
I think for
Maybe
like a
for
second she did,
others.
yeah. And there's a moment in the conversation where she's like,
Yeah.
nope, that's it.
She took one look at those eyebrows and was like,
But
I love
first they were
Hope
hidden.
following her.
Yeah.
She's like smiling,
Oh my gosh,
being
she's
a
making
creeper.
all creepy faces behind Xena. Because she hates Xena, obviously, because Gabrielle loves Xena more than her.
Yeah.
So it's like very understandable.
But also has this tremendous curiosity, I think, about their relationship, which is great. It's juicy. Because
She's like, are you guys subtext or are you text?
I want her to get to the bottom of it. I'm like, go, Hope, ask these questions.
Did your relationship start in the quest or what?
But like the first thing she does is tell her where the thing is.
The dagger? Yeah, very
So
complicated
like,
instructions.
you think she already knows it's her there?
She knows when Hope says suffer.
Oh, that's interesting. That's when
That's
Xena
when
knows.
Xena knows.
That's an interesting moment because I think Hope is doing a pretty good job up to that point, considering she has a different, creepier voice.
Yeah.
Trying to sound like Gabrielle.
'Cause
But then she has to add on this little bit about how Gabrielle, as Hope's mother, does not want Hope to suffer because she's her mother, which is actually this sweet, revealing moment from Hope. That's what Hope's Gabrielle would say about her.
So Xena's like, oh, hey, Ares, you're right behind Gabrielle. And as she turns, Xena whips out a dagger. And it's
Yeah.
like, I'm suspicious of
I
you.
mean, if Xena hadn't known it earlier, she certainly should have, when Hope kept going like, come on, Xena, tell me where the thing is.
Which crypt?
What's your sister's name?
What sister?
Dun dun dun. Sisters who kiss.
Her face, god damn it, it's so good. Hope's.
Both.
Xena's is too, but
Both faces, but yeah. I mean, I'm gonna say it a million times. I love this performance as Hope. I absolutely love everything she's doing with her face.
every time,
It's
all the time.
incredible. She sends Xena flying with some telekinesis.
Ares appears just to disapparate her.
Right, drink.
Yes.
Then Xena scolds Callisto for all the pyrotechnics
Oh,
in the village.
I can't believe Xena doesn't know how to have any fun, which is basically what Callisto says.
Yeah, gotta have some fun.
This whole thing with Callisto having a lot of fun barbecuing people, like kind of to help Xena, though she barbecues probably a bunch of villagers while she's at it. It totally reminded me of Spike on Buffy after he gets the chip and realizes he can still beat up demons and vampires. It's fun to see Callisto technically doing something helpful, but in a way that is distinctly unhelpful. And having fun with it, being like, oh yeah, I can fight for the side of good. It's just as fun. It's still super violent and great. This is fine.
Hope is in the Temple of Dayhawk. She got her robe on. And
Oh yes, I love the robes.
Yeah.
The robes, cool design, cool color, crimson.
Yeah, crimson.
With like, what is the black making like a
There's some kind
It's
of
a little
shape.
cross-esque.
Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
Cool, it's good.
All things good.
All things good.
I would like one for the house.
Your house robe. So she's like, when the blood flows, my father will enter the world. And apparently the blood is going to flow the next morning. So watch out.
She also says that she has satisfied her curiosity
Right.
about her mother and her friends, and they're fools.
Weak.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say her mother and her friend.
But I love that. I love the way this vulnerability is quietly being built in this episode.
I also like that it implies that she was like, all right, Dad, and Ares, like, nobody attack until I ask some questions.
Yeah. I mean, she reminds me of, that tropey plotline with an adopted child where they have to, find out about their parents. Like, that's what Hope is doing. She's going on this kind of voyage of self-discovery. Who was my mother? Why did she give me up?
Right. So our guys are on their way to Mount whatever it is to get the Heinz Blood dagger.
Asparagus.
Mount
Mount
Asparagus.
Asparagus.
Because it's hidden in a crypt, blah, blah, blah. Xena explained this.
Was that real? We don't know.
I don't know. They're definitely going somewhere on a journey. They all have
presumably
horses.
Somebody has to actually go get this.
Yeah, there's a
Dagger.
montage of, dissolving montage, which means time is passing.
And distance, presumably.
Yeah, exactly. It's a wide shot, and Joxer, who is riding behind Gabrielle,
Yes.
does not duck or whatever and gets like smacked with a branch and falls off the horse and like
It's like a typical Joxer
Right.
moment. Earlier, he got knocked into that like trowel.
oh my god,
Oh,
in
right.
the fight.
he like in the village he
Did he
came
knock himself into it?
he tries to get his sword out, he can't get it out, and then gets it out and knocks himself unconscious and then falls into that trough and dies because he's in a bunch of water unconscious.
Yes.
That's true. That's the end for Joxer.
Yeah, classic Joxer hits in a tree
Oh, you
and
can't
falls.
help but go, like, why doesn't he have his own horse? They have 3 horses. What's up with that?
He would have found a way to like mess it up.
Mess it up.
I couldn't help but laugh at this part though. I was
mean-
when he fell off,
You
the thing, I
laugh, but
laughed
then
at it.
you swiftly kind of cringe and cry because
Yeah.
Xena
Then he gets so awkward,
overreacts
so fast.
crazily, just like comes down on him with a fury.
Yeah. Again, something that should happen in every episode he's in.
That's true.
Honestly,
This feels earned, which
Yeah.
I think is why it's such a clever plot twist, because you do kind of go, oh my god, Xena, why now of all times are you like
Yeah.
beating up on Joxer, who's barely been in this episode?
Well, she's very angry this entire episode.
yeah, I mean,
so
she's
you get it.
She's not in a great
Like
place.
she's at the end of her rope. Like he's really annoying. She was already extra annoyed at Seraphin, so like it makes sense for her to snap. But like, boy, does she snap!
Yeah,
She calls him a
sick
moron.
to death of you.
Yeah.
Keeps pushing him away really intensely.
Yeah, kind
Yeah.
of slaps him around, throws him
Gabrielle's
down.
like Xena. Like
Right when she like actually, slaps him or whatever.
It's rough.
Yeah,
It's cruel.
and I think we talked over each other, but she calls him a moron, which
Yeah.
I thought was like extra.
That's true.
Really
we don't
extra.
often we
Like,
don't
that's
hear
like a-
Xena insult people like
Yeah,
that.
no, not like that
Yeah.
for sure. And so she keeps shoving him like further and further away because he's like not getting it, So it's like he's like a sad puppy. And I think it's that moment like where she tells him the plan.
Yeah.
Like in the faraway.
I don't think
Especially
he
'cause
knows.
Yeah, he doesn't know yet. He
That-
doesn't understand.
Yeah.
That's why his reactions are
Right.
so genuine.
That's really good because he'd never be able to sell this if he.
No.
And there's like a sound design thing where like they're way off, and then you can still hear her yelling at him,
yeah.
and then it goes to the other people.
Right, Callisto being like, "Do you have the dagger?"
And then-
be honest.
They talk, and then you hear her like yell like GTFO again. So like that whole space is like her being like, "Okay,
Yeah.
this is what you're gonna do."
So
Burp,
yeah,
burp, burp.
this serves a double purpose. Her like ostracizing him from the group, so he can be off on his own doing the plan, but also getting that distance, chasing him, so that she can.
And
do
I think
this.
that because she has such a limited time to tell him all this stuff, and like that's why you see him lingering and staring backwards, which was just like this "what the fuck it just happened"
Yeah.
moment, and then he like leaves.
it's a
But-
lot.
I liked it. I
Yeah,
liked it
I
because
do
it was
too.
supposed to. I mean, it was supposed to be genuine, which, without knowing the end of the episode, if you're watching for the
Yeah.
first time, you see that maybe Xena did this to
Protect him.
To protect him, exactly. So it's like it's gonna hurt now, but like later when he finds out that this was like for his own good, then it's totally fine. And he stands around like a sad little creature because he's genuinely hurt by this, right? So you think, right? But he really has like a secret plan. He has to watch them leave, and then he's gonna go do his thing. I'm not quite sure like when he actually does this because he presumably gets
Yeah, I
kidnapped,
think
like-
between this scene and the next scene.
yeah, they
he
just
has
cut
to.
so well together
Yeah.
where it just seems like he turns left and is
and
caught
right there. Yeah.
So there's a really great campfire scene that we're on, and it is between Xena and Callisto as Gabrielle sleeps.
Sleeping,
Except
establishing
she's
gaps.
not very asleep.
Well, she's first asleep, and then
Yeah.
you find out that she's not.
Okay.
It's important.
Yeah, it is.
Because
It is.
Xena's, like they're doing shifts. So Gabrielle
Yeah.
sleeps, Xena's
Right.
staying watch, and Callisto is a god.
Yeah,
So-
she doesn't need to sleep.
Yeah, she also is like, keeping up their fire
Oh
going,
yeah, she's trying to prove how handy she is.
yeah.
It's the last night sky they'll ever see.
That's a
Says
nice,
Callisto.
a nice sad line.
I love this moment. I love
Mm-hmm.
that she hears a wolf and looks
Mm.
at the moon and then says this like existential line. It's
Yeah.
really great.
And it's a reminder that, yeah, at some point in her life, Callisto did appreciate the world around her. She's
Right.
capable still, even now, of seeing beauty.
It's a moment of humanity, which is something so important to not lose track of for, I mean, any character really. Like that's why we're yearning to see it in Hope. Like we're, yearning to see it in Callisto.
The difference is you see it in spades with Callisto, whereas with Hope, it's more of a glimpse.
Of course. Well, Hope herself is kind of a glimpse.
Yeah.
I mean, she was supposed to be like a recurring villain, and they never quite got there.
Yeah,
so.
that's true. They changed their minds about that. Well,
Which is weird because they have the actress playing her available. Like I don't know why.
Why?
sitting by the phone waiting.
Why not?
Yeah, maybe this is something to speculate on as we talk about the rest of Hope's episodes.
Well, I wouldn't. Well,
One other thing that we have to talk about with this campfire scene is that it is a truncated version of a much longer scene that they eventually decided to cut out of the episode, which is more of a callback to previous campfire conversations. Or really, there's only one big campfire conversation.
Are you talking
that
about specifically
Callisto
between
and Xena have? Yeah, but obviously we have campfire conversations between Gabrielle and Xena all the time.
And the number one campfire scene, like,
Is from
about Callisto,
Callisto.
in Callisto, the
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah, so it's not. We watched that scene to prepare for this, and like I didn't miss it. Like I like knowing that it exists, but it's kind of filling you in on stuff you already know and stuff that I think Xena must already know. Like it's Callisto just kind of saying, "Oh, I figured out that I needed to die based on like that experience and maternal instinct." And even there, as you remember, Vera, you got really mad that Callisto explains that face journey for us. Like we got it from just the beautiful silent performance, but she had to like explain it, and here she is explaining it again. So I don't miss it, but I like knowing that they shot it and that it exists, and it's there on the YouTubes if you guys want to check it out.
So yeah, they have this really great moment, Xena and Callisto, cut to the beginning and end of that scene, as you mentioned. And then you find out that Gabrielle has sort of been listening to this whole thing and is awake with her back turned towards them.
Yeah, she doesn't want them to know that they have an audience.
Xena hears something only, she can feel.
Her skin crawls.
Yeah, and she's like, I gotta go for a walk.
Gotta go take a leak.
Oh. I don't know.
Isn't that usually what that's code for if you're sitting at a campfire?
No. She's pretty straightforward about that stuff. She's always like,
Yeah.
I gotta go to the bathroom.
That's true. She's like, Gabrielle, where's your newest scroll?
Oh, fuck. Well, Ares is there, and
Basically, is offering her another shot.
Yeah,
one
to join
last
up-
chance to
to join
join
up
him
with
in
them.
Dayhawk. I don't know what he expects from this.
I think this is just his desperation. He loves her. I feel like he wants her to be with him, and
Won't quit.
He won't quit, even though it makes no sense. Yeah.
right. But this, I mean, later I feel like he's a little bit more harsh about it, but here he's like,
But it's the kind of harshness of like, oh, you rejected my advance in a bar. Like, I call you names now. It's coming from a place of insecurity and intense attachment.
well, this is where she finds out that Hope is pregnant.
She doesn't even find out. She reveals that she's just worked it out. As soon as she found out about her being in heat and boinking.
Oh, right.
Ares.
And how Seraphim was like, oh, she has like other purposes
She
too.
got that from that Ares and Hope fucked, and that Hope has a special purpose. That literally made Xena go, Ares plus Hope plus equals baby equals destroyer. Like, it was
Xena
quite
is,
a logic leap, but she got there.
One of her many skills is just like knowing plots.
Yeah.
Like just knowing.
But then Ares goes off on like how they're gonna sire a new race and their kid is gonna be one of 6 destroyers, and
Yeah.
it's that thing again where this whole situation has so many rules and established.
Don't forget, he explains what a destroyer is. An insidious creature with no soul who will eat of the living and the righteous and lay waste to all the gods.
It's just nuts.
Yikes. So he wants to give birth to that for some reason?
Yeah, he's totally cool with this because it means he's alive.
None of this matters because then he just turns and looks at Gabrielle and says, "You're gonna be a grandma."
Which is so great and weird.
Yeah, she definitely comes in on this conversation. She's like, did you
She's
say
like, "No,
a baby?"
no."
She's gonna be such a cool grandma, though. A young, hip grandma.
And she does the soft, patented voice. This can't be happening.
Yeah, she's so sweet here. And
Yeah.
Her faces are just like...
I mean, there's a lot that's hitting her real
This
fast
is
here in
quite.
these 2 episodes.
She's become a almost as fast as she became a mother.
I mean, yeah. Is this the point where I ask whether it's good that Hope's purpose is to bear a child in this world?
Sure.
Sure it is, or sure it's okay for me to ask?
Sure, it's okay for you to ask.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Because, like,
It's
I
a
don't
little,
know.
it's a little disappointing because Hope seems cool and
Yeah.
could have maybe been a more active member of this whole laying waste to the gods thing. You know, I like the Hope storyline, the way it plays out, and obviously this part of it is significant and does feel like an interesting extension of the storyline we've already had where Gabrielle gave birth to her. So this idea of childbirth and children and parents and passing on the legacy, like that continues through Hope. Like, I get it. But at the same time, I totally had that same reaction. I was
Yeah.
like, really already? We're just like, okay, she's an adult woman, time for her to have a baby.
Right.
Ugh.
The payoff is great later.
It's so
Yeah.
good.
Can't fault that because it's the best episode.
That's why we're not putting any coins in.
I'm not gonna do it. Well, I also like that Ares basically tells Gabrielle, I think that in this part where he's like, it's all because of you, this is the beginning of the end,
Ooh.
Ooh,
right?
that's rough.
that
Yeah,
happen?
I mean, the Destroyer is like,
Yeah.
yeah, Gabrielle is the matriarch of that family tree.
A win-win situation for Ares.
Ooh, that's
a
a
lose-lose situation for Xena.
that's a cold line.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is what I mean, where he was like, "You're gonna die." That's really
Dayhawk
cool.
wins, she dies. Dayhawk loses, she dies.
Yep. Well, the Dayhawk Temple is lit, literally, because there's a lot of fire.
Oh my god, there's so much happening. There's chanting,
There's dancing. The dancing girls
the
are back.
dancing boobs girls are back.
Oh, and they're like extra featured in this scene. There's a lot of close-ups.
The Omen
just
music
the
from
boobs.
the Deliverer is back.
Yeah.
My favorite is Calista watching the boobs and looking kind of disgusted by it. Like she wrinkles her nose, going like, "Why is this happening?"
That was like a pan
Frustrated.
down from the boobs to the vag on that girl. P.S. Director Rick Jacobson directed as many episodes of Baywatch as he did of Xena.
Oh, I see.
And here it is paying off.
Ares also checks them out.
Of course, he's so basic.
So Calista was in this temple to do some like recon. I mean, obviously she's like on the second floor and seemingly is like,
She's looking for the dagger.
but she's like on the second floor like, Heinz blood dagger, do I
you
see you? Like, do I a fucking dagger like from the second floor? Like whatever. I guess she has God.
But it's actually really
eyesight.
fucking clever of her because it is in there right now.
Yeah. Oh right, because Joxer
Yeah,
was
he's there
was
on the main
taken
floor.
is like there and they're ready to do their
So
sacrifices.
she's right.
It's true. She is right. So she apparates back to Xena and Gabrielle, who are like on this mound overlooking the temple.
Mound.
And Gabrielle now hears/feels something and goes on her own walk.
I like this, that she has her own Aries now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She finds Hope there.
Rubbing her belly, being like, ooh.
She rubs her belly like, ew.
She says, "This child is growing inside of me the way I grew inside of you."
Oh, you could put one coin in, but only like a penny.
All right. I
I know
one.
it.
I have a penny
just
right
one,
here.
Just one.
It's yeah.
It's so good. I can't. It's fine with me. This looks good. They look good in the
Yeah.
same
It looks
shot.
great.
Yeah.
One of them is taller.
It is, yeah.
Hope is tall.
I like that. She was taller, you know, the way that they were introduced. I mean, granted, she was like on an altar in the first scene, but the eye line was that she was
Right, looking down on her.
looking down on Gabrielle.
And
So that the eyebrows can do their
Yes.
The Gabrielle double has the tiniest arms. They're just very.
And her hair is
They're
just
not
like
muscular in
slightly
the same way.
more crimped. Not crimped, but like not silky.
Anyway, but it
as
looks
silky.
good.
Nobody's
it looks really
hair
great.
is as silky. Yeah, it looks really good. And of course, the biggest thing with a scene like this is that Renee carries it.
Yeah.
These two
Yeah.
performances, you really believe they're reacting to each other.
Absolutely.
And this is a really genuine hope. I feel like this is
Yes.
one of the very few times you hear genuine hope voice, and it's the first time she's like, "Be my mother, please."
Yeah.
Yes.
Just pleading.
Yeah.
I
Oh.
loved it. I absolutely loved it. So at that, Gabrielle reaches up and strokes her cheek.
And Hope kind of like leans into it the way a cat would. It's just like
Yeah.
clearly loving this
Yeah.
affection.
Like grabs her hand.
She's like basking in the, presence
This is
of
all
her
she
mother.
wants. All she really wants.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, touches her hand. As Gabrielle says, Hope, when I gave you that poison,
I forgive you, says Hope really quickly.
I'm so sorry I didn't finish you. Finishes Gabs.
Oh. So, I mean, okay, guys, in this scene, are you like, fuck yeah, Gabs, doing the right thing, we're past the rift? Or were you, like, sad? Were you sad that Gabs rejected her?
Both.
Both.
It can be both.
I mean, I was.
It is both.
It definitely is both.
Yeah.
I mean,
felt
probably
hurt
not to
by
everyone,
it.
but for me, definitely
Yeah.
both.
Yeah, I felt sad.
I felt very
wanted
sad for
her
Hope.
to, sign up for the apocalypse with her daughter, but
It's the only relatable Hope thing that exists, is that
Right.
Hope wants Gabrielle's love. And we can all relate to
Yeah.
that, surely.
yeah,
Yeah, we all want
so
her to stroke
true.
her cheeks.
And you'd feel bad when it's denied.
Yeah. I mean, it was rough. I don't know. I'm really dumb because any villain that shows a remote, possibility of being redeemed, I'm,
You're
always
into
up
it.
for. I'm like, she's seriously evil. And I'm like, oh, but if she just comes with her, she'll be fine. She'll get her off that path. Just like Xena.
Well, it shows there's something there.
Yeah.
This is so human, and this is a character who we keep being told she's half human, and you kind of haven't believed it
Yes.
until this point when you say, "Oh, I see something human here."
Right. So after that, intense burn from Gabs, Hope's face just goes pure evil, and she backs away slowly.
Yeah, literally just exits the scene. Grr. So meanwhile, Callisto is one more for the roading, trying to get that promise out of Xena that she's gonna take out that dagger and murder her. And I love that she phrases it like this, gentle audience. She says, "Try not to die before doing me first."
I love this show's use of do.
Quite good.
It's great. Again,
Intentional?
well, the first usage ever was
Oh,
in
yes.
Callisto.
That was
Remember
sexual.
when little me freaked out? It was not sexual. It was about slitting Gabrielle's throat.
Yes, but that was sexual.
Oh, excuse me. Yes, it was very sexual.
Yeah, this one, it said more. It could get lost. It's not like there's any great emphasis put on it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, how can you hear a line like that and not go, yee?
I know.
The end of that line is, "Or I'll make Gabrielle wish I had." How's that for incentive? That's scary.
Incentive.
Yeah, definitely works as incentive.
Uh-huh.
Okay, now we're at a big scene. This is Gabrielle and Xena talking about the rift here at the very end of season 3, which has been so dominated by this storyline. Finally, we kind of put a punctuation mark on it.
Xena is trying to get Gabrielle to just stay away.
And Gabrielle's literally like, no way.
And then this time, Xena doesn't push that. Maybe, if you rewound to season 2, she might be like, no, you have to. I'm going to trick you into staying. Here she's just like, okay, you're right.
I just love that Gabrielle's line is, no way I'm with you till the end.
Yeah.
That is just so...
That's so her, yes.
heartstrings.
But then Xena says, but I don't want you to feel guilty once I'm gone. Again, the pins feel so right for these guys and their relationship.
And then she says, but I want you to know that I still think you are the best thing that ever happened to me.
That's after she says, so much has happened to us in the past year.
Right.
And at times, we were both very confused. Which is my favorite part
That's
of this.
the greatest explanation for the rift.
The rift boiled down by Xena is a lot has happened to us the last year, and at times we were both very confused. That is Xena's one sentence summarizing the rift.
And you know what? It's a very good, very
That's
fair
true.
summary.
It's true.
There's no blame involved.
No.
It's just this
The
nice,
both of us.
neutral. That's in the end what happened. And I think that is it. That's a period being put on the rift that Xena can describe it in this way.
Yeah, like you were saying, Vera, she does a big speech that is important, and is being very noble and lovely.
Yeah, it's lovely.
And yeah, she says, "You're the best thing that ever happened to me. You gave my life meaning and joy. You will be a part of me forever." Then they hug.
Yeah, and the faces
Yeah,
are very
my
good.
Gosh, they are so good. I love how Gabrielle's face is this almost like grimace. Like it's kind of her mouth is going sideways in this way. Like she's just upset by it. I mean, I think this is Renee's way of reminding us that Gabrielle knows what she has to do.
Right.
Which is weird because this scene is going overboard to be like, well, Xena's gonna die this
Yeah,
season.
and
The
Xena's
season
trying to
finale.
tell Gabrielle, guess what? I'm gonna die. And Gabrielle's like, oh no, I can't let this happen. I can't.
Right. This is, well,
I don't know. I didn't really read it that way.
I kind of did read it that way, but maybe it's because you know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Right, I
It's
didn't
hard
read it that
not
way.
to
I
read into
really,
it.
I think that like on this watch of the episode, I've noticed how intensely it was like trying to make the audience believe that
That
Xena
Xena
was
would
going to
die.
die at this season finale.
Yeah.
But I do think this is a moment for Gabrielle to think about what she might have to do to stop this.
Maybe, yeah. She has tears in her eyes.
Oh yeah. So do we.
Right. Ultimately, because of what happens with Gabrielle, you feel like Xena has all these suicide missions all the time that like she has to not tell her about them
Yeah.
forever after.
Yeah, that's a really good point. That changes Xena's attitude. Oh man, I never thought of it. Ooh, I got the chills. Inside the temple, Xena now busts in. I love this static shot of the entranceway. You have the priests running towards the door. You can't see it. It's out of frame. But you see the priests running, and you're like, what are they running for? And then, like, still in this static shot, you see just priests flying backwards, flying
I mean, you
everywhere.
hear them. You hear Xena.
Yeah, you
at
hear them.
least.
Yeah!
Yep.
Angry cat noise. And then you just see them falling. So I thought that was a really fun, clever way of staging a fight scene. You feel Xena's power without actually seeing it.
Hope, upon seeing that, action was starting to take place, orders for the sacrifices to be killed, slit their throats. She croaks.
Including Jaxers.
Of course. And then Xena and Gabrielle make their way into, the main area, and it's chaos. There's fighting everywhere.
Everywhere, a fight.
And, like, both Xena and Gabrielle have, like, 5 guys, like, going at them at once.
And they're holding their own, including Gabrielle, which is so great to see.
Just 5.
Well, like, at a time.
Ooh, in the end big fight here was when I made a mental note to be like, it's not like this hasn't happened before, but Gabrielle using her staff, her skirt twirls around so pretty. It's like part of the aesthetic of the like staff fighting.
Aw.
It looks cool. The end.
Is this more high-speed camera slow-mo fight? I didn't notice it.
I didn't notice it, yeah.
But
I think
the
it's just
fact that
regular.
you noticed the skirt wishing around pretty makes me wonder.
Yeah, I don't quite
I don't
think
know if it was
because
slow.
I don't think it was slow because
just
it's so
cool
much
looking.
Yeah,
is
there's just
happening
too
in
much,
this
right? If
scene.
anything, we're speeding up.
Yeah,
it
all,
just
looks
all
cool.
the things are colliding.
Yeah, it does look really great.
All our mains are together in this one room.
Right, so like everything is literally happening at once, guys. Seraphine tries to attack Xena with like a dagger, and this is where this is
Yeah,
mind controlled
the
Seraphine.
crazy
for
eyes.
sure. She got the crazy eyes. You have shots of hope. She's standing behind Ares. Slight nervousness appears
It's
on
funny,
her
yeah,
face.
neither of them is doing anything. Ares has god powers, Hope has telekinesis. They're
Yeah,
both
they're just, like, watching.
They're just watching.
Yeah.
I guess because they have that weird connection, Seraphine and Hope.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah. I just always read it as a
I
brainwash
don't think
metaphor,
this
but
is your
now
fault.
I get it.
I really think the episode is a bit incoherent.
Light has dawned.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, there's too much happening.
There's so much.
I kind of don't,
Yeah.
as established, pay attention
Yeah.
to many of the Dayhawk rules.
That's
Continue.
All right, Xena chakrams like a chain on the ceiling.
The ceiling again. Drink.
Is holding like a big steel ball.
Yeah.
What's that all about?
'Cause-
Just decoration?
Yeah.
Well, this big steel ball falls right on top of Dayhawk's like little fireplace.
Yeah. Puts
It
out the fire.
Puts him out.
And that seems to break the psychic link to the followers. Like, they stop being a problem now in the scene.
So like that's how we
Oh.
see Seraphine even, right?
Yeah,
It's
she
like,
just
what?
kind of loses
Or is
her
that
drive.
later?
No, I think
It's
that's
here?
here. It's
Okay.
here so that kind of the tenor of the fight can change. It's no longer about Xena and Gabrielle versus priests and Seraphine. Now it's about something else.
Yeah. Hope has a frowny face.
Xena goes up to Joxer and says, Joxer, did he get it? And out from that pasta strainer
Oh my gosh.
comes the Heinz Blood dagger.
It's great.
Whoa, twist.
It's really good. He
Yeah.
gets this heroic moment. And, it's subtle. It's not like, at the expense of Xena or Gabrielle. 'cause
No.
that would be intolerable. It's just this little thing.
It's part of
where
it.
He brings them something they need. It's the last person anybody would expect to do something so important. Like, I love that Callisto has just gone around being like, do you have it? Do you have it? She never asks him. She doesn't even see him. So that's perfect.
He throws her the dagger, and now Xena has a really intense weapon.
taste the Heinz blood? That's my Xena impression again. She
Yeah.
threatens
She
Ares
threatens
with it. And it's a
him.
scary threat.
Yeah, he's really like.
She means it, and he looks hurt that she means it, and that's how you know that he's still, that he has been protesting too much. He obviously does not want Xena to die.
Well, that's why he didn't
he's
do
working
anything.
on Gab so hard throughout
Yeah.
this scene.
Right. And that's why it's another reason why he didn't do anything but just watch, just because he didn't want to, like, accidentally kill her, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know if you were interested in taking that pin out of Ares' feelings for Xena, but I do love, and I think this becomes the entire way Ares is characterized throughout the duration of the show. But this, where he seems to be on one side, seems to have one set of priorities, but his attachment to Xena is that thing, kind of keeping him from actually being an antagonist. Like, he's there
Right.
on the side of the baddies, but it's half-hearted. It's
Yeah.
not quite working.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess my pin was more like about how Xena actually was ready to kill him.
Yeah. I mean, and I think you're right. She'll do whatever it takes to stop this, including killing Ares. Like, she doesn't, maybe in other circumstances she'd feel something about Ares, but right now she's just no, this guy's a problem.
It's two sides of the same coin. You have Ares on one side, Callisto on the other, and
Yeah.
both of them.
Both of
She's
them,
ready to
she's
kill
ready.
that dagger.
They're both problems.
Yeah.
Continuing problems.
Speaking of Callisto, she just appears and starts fireballing. She gets him, and he, for some reason, gets electrocuted.
I don't know what's happening. It's like he's stuck in the moment of being fireballed over and over again.
Yeah, I guess this wall. I don't understand the
know.
source of this.
I thought somehow Hope was exerting her telekinesis in such a way as to disable him, but I don't know why she would
Why
do
not?
that. He's on her side.
I don't know.
It makes
Yeah.
zero sense.
Yeah.
It's literally the answer is they needed to get him out of the scene
Yeah.
for a while.
Yeah, again, I mean, you understand the plight of these writers.
Yeah.
Like, half the characters in this
Are
battle
gods.
scene are gods.
Yeah.
And indestructible, and how do you make things in such a way as that you can just have two of those characters facing off
Yeah.
without being incinerated or telekinetically thrown to pieces?
So Xena turns her dagger to Hope. There's nothing between them now. She can get her.
And there's a fiery pit behind them.
I have questions about that.
Yes.
But first, Callisto's like, do it, Gunner, then it's my turn.
Oh.
Okay, so my question about the fiery pit is, was that always there from previous scenes in this temple?
Not that we have noticed. It seems to have appeared conveniently, but of course, we know that this temple is built next to the raging volcano.
Right.
So there it is.
Did Xena dropping the ball into the pit open it up?
Maybe. So that's sort of a repeat of the Deliverer, where when she destroys the altar, there's like
She
this
also-
hell mouth that opens up.
She dropped something on that altar too to close it out.
Yeah.
It's the same
Yeah,
thing
well,
she
this
does.
is the same kind of mechanics of
Okay.
how this works. This whole thing with the fiery pit reminded me of Buffy a lot. It reminds me of the
Well,
hell
the
mouth.
Deliverer literally
Yeah.
also reminded
Yeah.
us because it had a Buffy monster.
Yeah. All right, back to the scene.
Yes, Hope holds Xena back with telekinesis. So Xena has to walk very slowly up onto this altar.
She's like struggling with it. It's
Yeah,
great.
it's cool because it's like two wills, battling it out.
And I love that Xena's will is stronger than
stronger.
Hope's telekinesis.
Right. And Hope's like, you can't stop the will of Dayhawk.
And Xena's like, watch me. She doesn't actually say that, but you get it. You
see it in her
You
face.
see it in her face.
Yeah, Hope makes her turn the dagger like on herself, but Xena turns it back.
Yeah, that's great.
And then as she's getting closer and closer, we start cutting to the Fates again. So this is where they're sitting around watching their, Netflix, well, Hulu, because that's what Xena's on now.
Know the Fates have the Hulu.
And it's to remind us that Atropos has her scissors ready to cut.
And if that wasn't enough for you, you also have Ares, once again, for the very last time, whispering in Gabrielle's ear, you know the stakes, Xena's fate is in your hands.
So Gabrielle acts on this, She pole vaults herself with her staff right there, grabs Hope, and into the pit she goes.
Now, I love this. I'm sure we all do. But I love that Gabrielle takes out Hope with an embrace.
Yes.
Ooh.
That's my favorite thing about this.
Which is what Hope wants.
Except
from
for
her.
my other favorite parts.
Yes.
of it.
I mean, there's so many to count that you're just like, let's count the ways we love this. Certainly the fact, that she does, it's not violent. It's some kind of consummation in a way.
Yeah.
These two.
No,
So-
it's... Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Just first and foremost, the first thing is that this is a mirror of how she stopped Xena at the end of the first episode of this two-parter, where she tackled Xena, right? Also an embrace, a more violent.
Sure.
But still, that was the same move, so she does it again here, right? I thought that was really interesting. Now talk about the good stuff here with the embrace.
It's so good. Well, number one, what was the thing that we watched? The retrospective of
the season
Sacrifice
3
1 and
DVDs.
2 on the DVDs, where they're just talking about how it was like an accident of blocking the scene.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it was intentionally written, in the script, and they embrace and fall. You know what I mean? It seemed like it was just like, well, Hope is standing here, Xena's standing here, so Gabrielle needs to do this in order to look at Xena.
Right.
So it ended up being that like that turn created this hug situation.
Mm-hmm.
So grateful for that, because it doesn't seem like it was an intentional part of the scene as written,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
But it makes me question how fandom was split on whether this was an accident fall or not, because
How could it be an accident?
Right, turning around and pulling Hope down with you into a pit is intentional.
Yeah.
That's not like a oops.
And
There's
to
nothing
save
accidental.
Xena from killing Hope.
The name of the episode is Sacrifice.
I know.
I didn't. Were there people making an argument for it being an
seems-
accident?
So it seems that the end of this episode and the summer between seasons had a lot of people kind of discussing
unpack.
two parts of this
Yeah.
last bit here. One, upcoming with Callisto, and one this. Like, did she mean to just push her down in there and then fell also? Because she's like Xena.
Oh, in that sense, an accident. I see.
That's what it
I
means.
see.
But I feel like her spinning around. I mean, that was that showed
Yeah.
her intentional.
And you see it.
Fall.
You see all of that playing out on
Yeah.
Gabrielle's face. You see her saying, I'm doing this. I'm sorry.
It's a good face.
Yeah.
Slow mo.
Slow-mo.
Oh gosh, yeah. Also in that retrospective, they tell the great story about how they shot this with a high-speed camera. They didn't have a monitor for that. They couldn't see what they were shooting. This would be footage that, when played at normal speed, would look very, very slow. Since they couldn't actually look at that, they just had to take it on faith that they'd caught this moment.
Yeah.
And
They caught it.
Oh boy, did they catch it! Yeah, it's just such a heart-stopping look,
Yeah.
and I love that the world slows down in order to give Gabrielle and Xena this moment. It's so crazy moving.
Xena looks perfectly shocked and horrified, and the words that they use to describe the look on Renee's face where it was like a combination of a goodbye and I'm sorry, which I think is perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely see that.
And I would say
And some resolve, like,
Yeah.
I'm doing
this.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm definitely doing this. This is definitely happening.
accident. So
sorry.
No. I just wanted to put a pin.
You put a pin?
Put a pin. This is a silly pin, but I'm still gonna do it.
Okay.
I think that her turning and looking, and then as she falls, she calls out Xena's name, is a mirror to the last episode of Xena, Warrior Princess, and a certain situation that is
Calls
said
Gabrielle's name.
there. And the line she says about if you had 30 seconds to live or whatever.
Oh my god. All right.
Pin.
Eyes and looking. Oh, I'm good.
Yeah, you're great.
I'm good.
Well, this
I'm
episode's not
good.
over yet.
I also everything about it is perfect. So even the fact that they had the little shot of her feet falling out from under her.
Oh, that's
I-
great.
I love that shot.
Yeah. They had a good coverage of it.
Yeah, and it's great, that overhead shot where you see the two Renees falling
Yeah,
into the
pit.
fiery pit.
Mm-hmm. It's
Very
all good.
poetic.
It's all good. And everybody, reacts, right? So Xena is like, Gabrielle, and then she's like, yeah.
Yeah, I love the cutoff. The
Oh,
cutoff
yeah.
one's very good.
Yeah.
She just can't believe it happened.
Yeah. She's shocked. Joxer's there, shocked.
Yeah.
And Callisto.
Is all of us.
Oh my god, I need this reaction gif in my life so bad. It's so great.
Yeah.
She just
me.
I need to Photoshop in the popcorn eating there because it's so just yeah.
The just delight, the jaw-dropping delight on her face is actually me in this moment
true.
because I love it so
It is.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's so great. I mean, you know it's gonna be okay. It's season 3.
Yeah.
I guess
Gabrielle's coming back.
I suppose. But,
it depends
I'm
if
going-
you know it's going to be
listen,
okay or
true.
not.
Listen,
Some
I'm-
might
Certainly
not.
in May 1998, you would have been very, very worried and upset, and probably mad at Callisto for making that face.
Yeah.
Now, in 2017, I'm like, girl, I'm with you.
Listen, whenever they end a season with Gabrielle dying, I'm going back to what I said in Doctor. She's technically the second
not
person.
Xena
She's
Warrior
not Xena Warrior
Princess.
Princess. They could replace her, technically speaking. You never know. So it's a mystery. For that summer, that's a huge one.
I read an interview with Steve Sears where they ask him, what's going on with Gabrielle. I guess this interview was conducted between seasons 3 and 4. And the interviewer mentions, with Renee O'Connor being seen on set. And he immediately was like, yes, but she plays 2 characters, as you
Yeah.
may recall.
Yeah.
And he wasn't even lying.
Yep.
Spoilers.
It's very true. He has an answer for everything, remember?
He really does. He really does.
All right, so what's going on with Callisto right now, guys?
Giggling.
Yeah,
very-
this laugh is...
Yeah.
It almost sounds like Beyond the Pale. Like it's this
Yeah.
kind of just weary cackle. Like it's gleeful, but in this way that we've never quite heard from her before. Like it's such a little noise.
Well, it's like the most insane
Yeah.
moment maybe ever
Definitely.
for Callisto.
Yeah.
So she proclaims that, wow, seeing Gabrielle die like that has given her a reason to live.
She never thought she'd feel so good again. The way she delivers that line about a reason to live is so fascinating to me because she has this very strange pause. She says, it's given me a reason to live.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, we'll talk, I'll bring that up again. But for
Right.
now, I'm putting a pin in the pause.
Okay, we'll unpin that in a minute.
A pause, yeah.
So Xena reacts to this by stabbing her with
Just
that dagger.
whips right around. It's so
The rage.
good.
The rage. It is amazing.
Just boom, it's
Yeah.
done.
And then there's a massive face journey that happens for both people.
Oh, the
Yeah.
best face journeys.
And these 2 face journeys are lit beautifully.
Oh, I was gonna say the film actually literally
Yes.
looks incredible.
Yeah,
in
this is, I
episode.
think, some of the most just lush,
Yeah,
like,
the
cinematography
colors.
in all of Xena.
Oh, so good.
Yeah, you have these sparks flying,
Yeah.
literal sparks flying behind them. You have this like soft rosy light, like orange and rose. Like it's just, they both look so beautiful, Hudson and Lucy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, oh, I get chills.
P.S. Xena has this amazing, like, scratch on her head.
Yes, that scratch is so good in this scene.
It's so good.
That scratch is the MVP.
Oh.
Katie is literally playing us the gifts of this moment just because it's that beautiful.
All right. So, face journey.
Yeah, let's do the two face journeys. Who first?
Let's start with Xena.
All right, that's the harder one. I think.
Oh, yeah?
I find it harder, but we should do it first.
Well, I just feel like Callisto's goes with an entire discussion
Yeah.
of her motivation.
Well, I find Xena's expression hard to parse. I see sadness,
Yeah.
but I also see like maybe numbness. Like it's hard to quite like I see all the stages in Callisto's face journey, whereas Xena's it's harder. It's harder to see stages. I just can tell it's a lot. Maybe they're all layered on top of each other. It's not a face journey. It's a face traffic jam.
But they're definitely there. I mean, she definitely starts with anger.
Yeah.
And then...
right, the fury from
Yeah.
the whip around. But that disappears almost instantly. Like
Yeah.
it's there just for the moment of the stabbing. And then there's just this miasma.
I don't know. I think at least for me, the middle part is not important. It's the end.
It's all important.
Yeah, I feel like at the end, it's compassion.
Let's not forget her line.
Well, yes.
No more living for you.
Yeah. I think it goes hand in hand with Callisto's face journey.
Yeah. Well, do you think Xena realizes that she gave Callisto what she wanted and is upset that she has done that in any way?
I don't see it as
I
upset.
don't think so either.
I think she's moved. I think
hesitate.
she's
Yeah.
moved. She gave Callisto what she wanted, and I think is glad of it in some way. I mean, she just lost Gabrielle, so glad is
like
really
5
not the
seconds.
word.
It was like a really huge sacrifice that happened, and I'm putting a pin in this for, what is it, season 5? Where
Oh,
there's
yeah.
another moment where Xena maybe touches somebody, a character, and does her own kind of like sacrifice there too. So it'll go. Trust me, at that time when I unpin it, if I remember, it'll go really well with this. I don't want to do spoilers, so, but y'all know what I'm talking about.
Okay, Callisto's face journey now.
It's perfect.
First, she's shocked.
She literally has a body journey too.
Yeah, face and body journey.
Yeah, she's shocked. She looks at the dagger. It hurts. I
It
guess.
hurts, and I don't know if she expected.
Yeah, as a god.
She was immortal.
She had her
before she
hand
was a god.
cut off.
Yeah.
Like, she gets
She's been
stabbed.
so living outside of her body that
Yeah.
this just pulls her right back into it in a way, and I think you really see that in the performance.
Yeah, so she looks at it, she kind of grabs at it, she touches Xena's face.
And then she smiles.
Yeah,
This real, true smile. You feel like a weight is lifting from her.
yeah. I think, to me,
She's
that moment...
grateful.
Yeah, to me, that moment reads as thank you.
Yeah,
and
thank you.
She sort of starts falling, and, like, her hand, which, has been on Xena's cheek, goes down.
Just goes all the
journeys
way,
down
just
the body.
The curves.
The curves, you
Traces
can call them.
the curves.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she falls in this amazing wide shot in slow-mo.
And it's like a dancer. It's
Yeah.
so graceful and beautiful.
It's incredible. And you finally get like a shot of her dead face.
Yeah, and Xena looking down at her dead face.
And Jaxer's then in the background.
So we gotta slow all this down and just talk a bit about. Oh my God, there's so much to talk about. First, quickly, that odd cutaway in the middle of this sequence. Right. We have a flashback to
2 seconds ago.
15 seconds before Gabrielle's beautiful look. What do you guys think of this? Do you like this? This is a very strange choice by... At first we assumed Robert Field, the editor, but it turns out it's Rob. That was Rob's note to put that in.
It always felt like a Xena subjectivity to me.
It's explaining why she stabbed her?
Well, that's clear though.
I know.
But I don't know. I find it mournful and sad,
yeah.
and I don't know what to make of it because it is a flashback to a thing that we just saw.
Yeah.
But there's something about it flashing in this moment that works.
Yeah. I mean, it is a moment where I feel like Xena and Callisto are sort of staring at each other in a way that feels kind of mournful. Like that's the emotion in the face journey that they've paused at for this flashback.
I don't think it's necessary whatsoever, that little bit to Gabrielle falling, because what it does is kind of like, I'm in it for finishing Xena and Callisto right now, and like the fact that even I forgot that was there until you just said it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh right, that interrupted this
it pulls
moment.
it does pull you out of the moment. That's what it seems to be there for. To be like, remember this.
Right. So is it so that you don't fully like forget that Gabrielle just died?
I don't think
I
so.
half wonder. We don't know exactly why Rob wanted to put this in. I wonder if he watched this and said, like, this Callisto moment is so intense,
It
but we
overshadows.
just had Gabrielle die. Like, we need that here too. We need our two climaxes, which crazily happen within 10 seconds of each other. These two huge emotional moments, the deaths of two major characters on a show that has 4. And yeah, I feel like this choice allows you to almost layer those two climaxes on top of each other. You get them both at once. And that's the way you could kind of keep both those balls in the air. I agree that it's maybe not the most like elegant solution to that issue. And it does, like,
I don't have an issue.
Yeah, it's not like Callisto got cut into the Gabrielle
Right?
half of the scene, so it does
Hadn't
just...
happened yet.
Yeah, it feels just odd. I mean, I personally, I almost like it as a moment of just total surrealism.
Kinda,
That,
yeah.
like, the story breaks in a way.
It feels good to me in
Yeah.
a way that I can't describe, even though I know it's not necessarily something that needs to be there. And like Vera, like you're not wrong to be like, why is this here?
I mean, I'm a little offended by it, honestly,
Really?
because it's
Vera loves her
ruining
Callisto
because
moment.
the Callisto moment is just so powerful, and it's like, you don't forget that behind Xena is a pit where Gabrielle just fell, and she like literally ends the episode going back staring down into it. So it's like, it's not something you forget. You don't forget. You also don't question like why Xena stabs Callisto at that moment.
Right.
It's like none of these things are a problem. So I'm
Yeah.
like,
It's
just
unclear
weird-
what it's trying to
weird
explain to you, but
worry.
you definitely don't need that explanation.
But anyway, it ends on that wide shot.
Yeah. Okay, the other thing we have to talk about is Callisto's motivations, which seems, if you watch the special features on the DVDs, it's a big controversy among all the people working on the show.
Right.
Hudson says she played this as Callisto manipulating Xena into stabbing her, that her laughter and her line about appreciating life again, she doesn't mean that. It is, or she doesn't say that exactly. She doesn't say she didn't mean it, but that she says it in order to be stabbed.
Right. Everybody else says...
Everybody else basically disagrees
Yeah.
and says Xena would not be fooled.
Right. And Xena, surprised her. Like, that Callisto is genuine here and that Xena cut her down. What do you guys think?
I think Hudson's right, just because she really knows the character. That's not to say that the executive producer and writers don't know the character, but
I think they're right that Xena wouldn't be fooled.
I think that that's true, but I also think that like she can be surprised that Xena did kill her. Like, but for me, just her watching Gabrielle like fall in a pit and having like a 2-second 180 about her entire motivation for many episodes. Like, I don't think in a split second she'd be like, I'm ready to live now.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that, I think I'm really kind of yearning to have Xena be, like, taken down a step or something like that. Like, she's always right. She's always ahead of the game. So having Callisto, or, like, a villain, in general, have something on her, something surprising, is more rewarding to me. Like, I don't want Callisto
feel that too.
to be like, oh, I'm totally fixed.
And of all the moments to just act out, to do
Yeah.
something not necessarily like, I don't see it as manipulation. I see it as Xena has a temper, and Kalista provokes it.
Right. And
so
that's
we know Xena can be provoked. That's
Yeah.
not the same as Xena being, tricked.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I definitely agree with how Hudson read it and played it.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, it's just there on screen. And unpin my pin. Now I have a reason, she says.
Yeah.
A reason to make you kill me.
Right,
It's not
exactly.
like, that's why the pause is there.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
also, like, she's been asking for this, and I know Xena's like, you have to live forever. The beauty of this is that Xena is terrible at controlling herself after someone she loves dies. That's a very consistent character trait. And despite not wanting to kill Callisto, she does. She can't help it, right? And then also Callisto...
And it's also the right thing to do.
It is, of course, the right thing to do. It is a compassionate thing to do because Callisto's, like, really asking for it.
And
like
suffering,
like,
as Xena herself said. Yeah.
Exactly. So I think that combine the two and you get a beautiful scene, which is what we saw.
Yeah, I think so. And it shows that when you have, like, people coming to the table with one picture of what they want, and when you have an actor who really knows their character coming with a different interpretation, like, having those two collide makes a better scene than if either one was just it only. Like, I think it's so good.
You want that human
It's so
trait.
complicated.
You want that human
Yeah.
aspect. Like, she wanted this and she got it and was thankful for it.
Yeah.
And it was gorgeous, I don't know. I just don't want her to be like, ha ha ha, I'm laughing
It's
because
just,
I'm
and
genuinely
it would just be
laughing.
very stupid. Like, it just doesn't feel like something the character, and this is basically what Hudson said. Would she do it? Would she do it genuinely? It just, like, it would be like, she it's the exact same thing as Solon dying, where she was happy for 5 seconds and then the joy wore off
Right.
and she felt nothing. So, like, this is just that again, obviously. Like, if this were a sincere laugh, A, it would sound a lot different.
Yeah.
And B, it would wear off really fast.
Yeah, absolutely. So I love the scene so much. I think it's one of my favorite Xena Callisto moments.
Absolutely. It's devastating.
This whole sequence is one of, like, best in
Yeah.
the
In
show.
Best in
show.
Best in show. One of the best in the show.
Yeah, it's just perfectly realized. It's the actress at the top of their game. Beautiful direction. Like, just the emotional high that you get from Gabrielle and then Callisto. And that's it. The episode ends. Just bam.
On
Yeah.
Xena's sad
Yeah.
face, turning away from the camera.
And she starts to cry, and
Yep.
it goes to black.
Oh boy, happy summer.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I have frustrations with these episodes, which you guys can probably tell from the way I talk about them, like all the repetition, all the kind of running around and the nonsense.
They're very crowded.
They're
Yeah.
so crowded, but it just doesn't matter. These last few minutes are what it's all about, and all that running around busyness was just to kind of move all your pieces into position for this.
Yes.
And I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the busyness because it brought us this moment.
Yeah. So one thing to note is that, like, this is one of few Xena season finales. There's an actual, what we know as a season finale, which is a big old cliffhanger.
That's true.
To leave you
And they were
suffering in the
super
summer.
popular at the time.
Oh my god, right. Yeah.
Which Steve Sears said, citing The X-Files.
Oh,
Yeah, oh God, the X-Files,
secret
number one.
page.
Yeah.
Ah.
That was great. They were afraid the script for Sacrifice Part 2 would leak on the internet and fans would find out that Gabrielle was going to die. So they wrote a different end page that was sent to New Zealand where Gabrielle falls in the pit but then grabs onto a vine
Yay,
and climbs out and
phew.
is fine. And then they just did not shoot that. Love it. And they did that because the X-Files did it. The end of
Right, because they
season 5.
had massive cliffhangers,
Yeah.
which were so huge. One time it was Mulder was dead and Scully ID'd his body, and all summer I was like, what the fuck? How are they going to get out of this? cliffhangers are how you do a season finale. This show is crazy because it had so many weird episodes ending the stuff.
Right, well, this is the first actual.
Yeah,
Like, this
the
is
first-
a two-part finale where
Yeah.
no such thing had ever happened before. They usually have a comedy as their last episode.
or a bottle ep.
Or a bottle up. So now finally we get like a big
A real
epic
one.
showdown with a cliffhanger. You're like, whoa, Xena's suddenly a proper show.
Yeah.
Two-thirds dead Gabrielle in some capacity.
Yeah, that's huge. That's perfect.
That's true. That's
what
what we want. Not saying anything about is there a doctor in that. It's a great episode. It's just very unconventional. Whereas
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
actually feels more like, oh right, this is how it is supposed to be.
Supposed to be or how it is now
Yeah.
being, yeah.
I guess so. That's what I mean. It's actually this
Yeah.
feels more like a modern
Exactly.
serialized story. Like, yeah.
That's why we like it
That's
so
why
much.
we like it.
and respond to it.
Yeah.
So that's it for season 3.
Holy crap.
Whoa.
It was quite a ride.
I'm gonna miss it.
Yeah. I mean, out of the season so far, it has been best.
I mean, it's-
yes, that's true.
So good.
It's like, yeah, insane how good it is.
It's leveled up so much.
Yeah.
Like I think back to where, Comedy of Errors season 2. This just is a different beast that
Yeah,
we've been
absolutely.
grappling with.
for sure.
But I'm very excited about season 4 because
Oh yeah.
it ups some games and then also takes risks and then does a lot of stuff that I'm very interested in talking about.
Yeah, I
and
mean,
it's a very consistently great season.
It is,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's-
I think even more so than season 3, it has a consistency that's very impressive. And again, the serialization continues into 4.
Oh, yeah.
And I kind of group them
Ups
together,
it.
to be honest. I see 3 and
Oh,
4
yeah.
as being.
Yeah, because
They
they're
kinda go-
very good
they're a
together.
unit, yeah.
For sure. Well, we will talk more about overall season 3 in our mailbag episode.
Get your last questions in.
Yes,
be
yes.
next week.
If you guys have any questions at all about anything we've said, particularly about season 3, but we will answer any and all questions.
Midway through this journey.
Yeah, I mean, this
So-
does feel like a good moment to stop,
Yeah.
reflect.
Yeah.
So yeah, that'll be for next week. We will talk about season 3, talk about this journey, and we hope to see you there.
Right. So for now, follow us on all the things and stuffs.
XenaWarriorPodcast.com, our official website. Please go there. You can listen to episodes. We are on Apple Podcasts and Stitcher and Google Play, etc. If you are enjoying the podcast, stuff that really helps us out all the time is if you rate or leave a review on iTunes. We are doing many fun things on Patreon, patreon.com/XenaWarriorPodcast, and Twitter and Tumblr and Facebook and all that jazz. Go find the links on our official website and you can click them and follow and like and all the things.
Click
oh my
the
god.
things.
So many
All
things.
the things, all the things, all the things.
The power.
The passion,
The podcast.